I'm just personally a fan of just suit up days. You know, I used to
Hmm.
have like a suit up Friday back home, just for no reason, just suit up, just feel good. But you know, it's whatever's comfortable for you.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to ask you, like, just we'll plug it again at the end because people forget. But where can they watch your talk show at right now? If
They
they
can
find it.
they're going to be able to find it. I haven't released episodes yet. I'm actually starting to release them next week. So you know,
Okay.
big reveal. I only have the promo ad, but it's going to be available on YouTube. It will be on my Instagram, on Facebook. All of the links are going to be available. But on YouTube, if they type in your favorite villain, starring Rytis Valiunas, which is my name, or just your favorite villain, it will pop up at some point.
Why do you call it yourself your favorite villain? That's interesting.
Well, that's also something that we work on with Actors Fast Track. It's my brand as an actor.
Hmm.
Um, it's just like my tagline and like actual brand is international mastermind who loves to see her hero suffer.
Hmm.
So I was jumping off of that, but because of the entire situation that's going on in the world, I didn't want to self promote and just like put out like, you know, like monologues from someone who's just bad or just like, you know, malicious or whatever. I wanted to do the exact opposite. I wanted to bring some good energy and some light to people. So I'm like, how can I put those together? And I'm like, that's kind of quirky, maybe, you know, just like
Yeah.
your favorite villain. And that's like for people like, what, my favorite, what's that? Like, I never thought of having that or something. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I can use it. And I just like put this premise of me doing research, trying to become the ultimate villain, and just talking to people about life and stuff. So yeah.
And so you're doing this, and like, are you like, do you find it comforting that you're able to still talk to people? Because that's what I'm finding the blessing of all this is like we're still able to connect, learn from one another. I'm actually making a lot more connections than I did like before the quarantine, you know, which is ironic as hell. But is it cleansing for you? Is it doing a lot? Is it keeping you sane during this time?
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And this is the best thing because I've wanted to try it out for quite a while, but it's just you know, all of the usual things in life of like, oh, you know, I don't have time right now, or I'm like, would anybody watch it? Would anyone, you know, like care for it? But now I kind of put all of that aside, and I'm like, I have a goal
Hmm.
because out of all of these, you know, look, like the first 3-4 days of everyone self quarantining was already for me enough to like I needed a break from social media because all of the all of the ironic jokes about stuff and all of the people, you know, just like that energy, like worst vacation of my life. I'm so bored at home, and I'm like, you don't get it then.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't understand what's going on. And I was so mad about that energy that I was seeing everywhere, and people like kept like, you know, watching it and like agreeing and like laughing about like all of these things. And I'm like, that's not, that's completely, they're missing the point. And I'm like, I got to counter that somehow. And that's how this my talk show came about, because I'm like, I need to bring some light and some positivity and something that's real and genuine,
Hmm.
instead of, you know, pretending or like making jokes or making memes about this thing that's like, I don't know. So kind of that way. But yeah, communicating with people, dude, I made so many new like connections just because of this. Like Alexander is like prime example as well. Like I kind of knew him, saw him before like on our like group calls, but like I never had a chance to sit down and talk with him. And yeah, and we did, and it's been great.
Yeah, you were talking about, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. You're talking about social media. I had to take a little break for a while too, because just that part too, the bad energy, and also just the stupidity and the transparent stupidity, especially coming out of boredom right now. I'm seeing people make up ridiculous stories. There's one day when I saw some story about Oprah, and I was like, I'm getting off Twitter. This is getting too ridiculous and too nonsensical. Like it's retarded. I mean, let me not say that. I mean, it's dumb, okay? And it's like, damn. I just wanted to take a break from it because it's like people are just really, really bored and it's all negative. But people like me and you and other creators out there, we're finding a way to still be creative out there and still put help out people during this time. And people love the content. I'm sure people are going to love your content, and I can't wait to watch your show as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And you know, I think that's again, yeah, for me, being an artist, it's one of, in general, like I feel like it's one of our life missions is just to always bring out a different perspective and something positive for people to enjoy. And I feel like this is Yeah, I'm so done. I'm so done with all of the jokes, all of the memes, all of this kind of like I do understand that might be like one of the stages of accepting the situation is like kind of like denying, like putting it aside, making a joke about it. But I was like, from the beginning, I was like, just stop, just stop and think with your own mind, with your own head, make some decisions and like realize what's happening, realize that this is not, and first of all, this is prime time for everyone to realize that not everything in life is about us.
Hmm.
Like it's not like this is not a time to be selfish and think like, oh, you know, I'm so bored, I'm so mad that I'm stuck in the house. And you're like, well, think bigger than yourself in this situation and realize, first of all, why are you staying in the house? Because your actual survival might actually depend on it. So we're trying to help you. So just do it, you know?
Yeah, everybody needs to stop complaining and just think about staying in the house is helping. And like, some of us don't help at all throughout our whole lives. So it's just a simple act of just sitting down is helping out the world. So just, yeah, take it as it comes. I want to start from the beginning with you. What age did you travel from Lithuania to America?
I was 23 and some change.
And
Yeah, I turned,
why'd
yeah.
you choose like New York over Hollywood or California?
I did have my school had a campus in LA as well. I just, you know what? It's one of those things where I just felt it. I
Mm.
just knew that this was the right place, and yeah, and it was.
As an actor, like I know in New York, there's a bigger, not maybe bigger, but actually it is bigger, like theater scene, and people do a lot more plays out there. Is that something you're interested in, or you're purely theatrical and commercial work?
You know, I've done bits and pieces in all of the industries involving acting. Aside from maybe I haven't done any like video game voiceovers, which is something that I think it's fascinating and I would love to do. But I've trained as a theater actor for 7 years in back in Lithuania and then in New York. But I did film, TV, I did immersive, I did musical stuff. It's, you know, it's all good. But definitely I've done mostly theater work.
I
But now
see.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of trying to transition into camera work.
Nice, because actors over here, a lot of them, some even like without even having any work, will refuse to do theater work. Maybe it's a little bit intimidating for them, and but it just seems like it would be a rush, like just to be on stage. The New York scene is painted like on movies and stuff. It just like seems really romanticized, and I always wonder because I'm living in LA and Hollywood forever, but New York seems like a different world in a sense, and it seems like true artists like live in New York. Do you get that kind of idea too?
I mean, I would say that it like being a true artist doesn't depend on your location. I
Hmm.
think, but I do think that theater scene is definitely different just because of the simple fact of distance. Because in LA you have to drive everywhere and it's like the city's like so spread out. In here it's like everything's crammed in together and like shooting up into the sky. So it's like everyone's kind of like living on that rhythm. Um, but yeah, but the scene's pretty fruitful in terms of theater. You do when you're starting out get to do a lot of stuff for free in all
That's pretty.
industries in LA as well. I'm sure because I have friends in there as well who are actors. So it's like it's all the same everywhere. But it just like people don't shy away from theater work in here. I don't know if they do in LA to a degree. I've been told that they do. They love camera more. They more work more than theater work. But it theaters was my first love and will forever be. So I don't mind it.
So when English is your second language, obviously, right? When you moved here,
Yeah.
you already knew English.
Yeah, I did. I took English at school from fourth grade up until I graduated, and then before I came here, I took additional courses, and I got Cambridge Advanced English degree, I think, or something. Yeah, so I got like a certification
Oh,
of
you're a
some sort.
smart guy, aren't you? You're smart, huh? I
I
can
mean,
tell.
I try to stay sharp. I try to stay sharp.
Yeah, and that's important, like to just try to know the language. I had a roommate from Lithuania, and he learned English quick by watching every single episode of Seinfeld, and I was like, wow, that's impressive. It's like I can't watch a Lithuanian show and learn it. So it seems like, maybe this is just a misconception, but it seems like because English is so in demand and maybe like the most popular language or most spoken language, it's like foreigners are like able to learn different language. That's a talent I admire. I wish I don't even know Hindi, and I'm Indian. I don't even know Hindi. I wish I do it, but yeah, it's a good talent to have, and I'm sure it serves you in the acting industry, knowing multiple. You can play the bad guy, you could play the villain, like knowing different languages and things like that. And is Kristaps Porzingis from Lithuania? I'm trying to think of an NBA player.
No, Porzingis is Latvia, but they're closest neighbors.
Okay.
So he's also family. He's a cousin.
Okay, Slovenians are kind of close to you too, right? No?
Slovenia is a bit further away, but
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
okay.
but Europe is relatively all kind of still small and like together in a way.
Do you keep in touch with your family that's still in Lithuania during this time?
Yeah,
And are
yeah,
they
yeah,
going through the
definitely.
same thing that we are? They're quarantining just like we are over here.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
whole world is.
absolutely. And also same thing of, you got to wear a mask on the street. And it's been, police are enforcing social distancing as well. If you're walking around with somebody too close, or like there's like, I think more than two people walking together, they're like asking that you're like, keep distance. So yeah, it's kind of the same.
Okay, and now let's get more focused on like your career. I'm interested in actors, and who's like your prototypes or your archetypes of like actors that inspire you, not necessarily you want to be like, but who inspire you, especially modern generation. Everybody has the same old like De Niro and all that stuff. I want to know about like the modern actors, like the right now. They don't have to be young or anything, but of right now.
Actors of right now. That's a,
Tricky.
that's a good question. There are, let me think. There are many that you can learn from.
Hmm.
Older generation, just because I actually had a chance to like physically like be in the same space and encounter a master class. There's an actor, Frank Langella. He's an Oscar nominated actor, and he came to our school to give a master class in acting. So I saw it twice, 2 years in a row while I was there. And his approach to acting is absolutely brilliant. Someone who's been acting for, I don't know, I don't want to say the wrong number, but around like 40, 50 years at least in his life.
Repeat his
His
name because I don't even know who that is, but I'm aiming
Frank
at
Langella. Frank
Franklin
Langella.
Jetta.
He's a
Okay,
he's
so
a
people
he's a
could
yeah.
research him.
He's a like if you would Google him, you would know his face immediately. Like maybe you don't associate the name with the person, but he's no BS, cut straight to the point kind of and especially with young actors, it was great to watch, because everyone was kind of like afraid, because they knew that he's gonna call him out if they try to pull something on him, and he did immediately, because he's like, I don't have time for this. This is not, listen, either you want to learn or just go sit back. And I'm like, that's, I have to respect that. Let me think. Younger generation, I mean, there are many actors and
Newer
actresses
generation,
actually
not
that are.
necessarily younger, but like I'll even throw out a couple names to help. Like, what if who somebody who I just got into, and I never watched the Twilight movies, but Robert Pattinson is very talented and is surprisingly amazing. I shouldn't say surprisingly, but I didn't know he was that amazing. And people like that, like, have you seen any of Robert Pattinson?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I've seen his work, and I'm glad that people are realizing. You know what? I will throw this name out: Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, great! He's a great, yeah.
And
Oh,
and I especially love the fact that he basically reinvented himself in the industry, because I remember him. What I got
long
was,
hair.
the third rock from the sun,
Yeah.
when he was super young, when he played this kind of a character, and then he kind of went off the grid for me, and then he comes back with Don John, like movies like that he kind of like produces as well, and like that kind of a direction. He took his kind of like type and just his career into his own hands, and he's like, I don't care what everybody else thinks. This is what I'm gonna do, and he's great at it, and he's been doing it. Um, Let me think. We just watched. Me and my roommates had a movie night. We watched Knives Out. So but those are some. I mean, some of them were from the younger generation, but like Toni Collette, for example, as a female actress, she's so good. Like pure perfection, that performance. Um, Let me think. There was. I'm now as I'm saying this, there was one performance where I thought it was flawless when I watched it, and now I'm blanking. I do respect John Hamm a lot. I think he found his niche, and he's really really good at what he does. And for me, I always say that mastery and, you know, the highest level of any kind of professionalism is, it's all in the details. And when someone's doing this, for me, you know, watching actors, and like, you know, there are a lot of actors whose performances are, you know, okay, they did their job, but the best ones, like there will be something like a tiny movement that they have, like body language, or like a tiny mannerism that they put in there, you know, consciously by effort, and then you watch it and it's just flawless at that point.
I
So yeah, but
see.
I'll keep on thinking of those names, and I'll
No
pump
worries.
out some
Yeah,
more.
I put you on the spot. I understand.
No, it's not on spot. It's just a question. It's fine.
Yeah, and are your roommates also like in acting as well?
Yeah. All of my roommates are actors. Well, one is diving into filmmaking right now, and the other one's diving into more of writing side of things. But yeah, we all met in acting school.
And how are you guys helping each other like stay creative during this time? Other than doing the talk show and things like that, are you guys like practicing scenes, going over things? Like how are you guys, or are you
Into
just not doing it?
I mean, what we did was there's this game called Fiasco. I don't know if you know it, but it's basically a very much an actor's game, because you have a book that gives you like rules, kind of like a guideline, and then there are different scenarios that you put your characters in, and then you either roll for like relationships and stuff, and then you just create scenes and you act them out, and then eventually, you know, you tell a story together. So we did that. We do have like,
How can people, they just got to Google that game or something? Because that sounds interesting as hell. That sounds like
yeah, no,
fun.
you can buy it. It's like there's like a book. It's called
Oh, okay.
Fiasco, that has like the guidelines, or you can download it. And yeah, and it's I think it's kind of like a party game. It's like charades, but like on serious mix of steroids,
Okay,
and like
that's a good
with
way.
some, yeah, with some acting involved as well. And yeah, and we also have like board game nights, which again, we get like into it, and you know, like we play the characters out as well. And we have a group of D&D players as well, Dungeons and Dragons. So that's
Nice.
a that yeah, that's a role playing opportunity, if anything.
See, that's dope that you guys could share this experience together. Are you the type to like, if they go out, or are they having friends over? Because I saw this whole thing on Twitter that was trending, where this girl keeps having her boyfriend come over and her roommate's just like not having it. And I was like, dude, thank God I don't have roommates right now. Like, but I did, and you know, like things like that could get. I was just imagining what it could be like during a quarantine with roommates, like every day, or like, and you're dealing with one another, and like, so. But has that become an issue where like, and I don't want them to hear you talk shit about them right now if they're around, but I'm just asking, like, is that an issue, like having people over and things like that?
Yeah, no, it hasn't been an issue for us, because we're all just trying to do our part. And just, we're not that kind of people to like throw parties in our house in general.
Yeah.
So that's okay with us. Obviously, you know, living in a confined space with more than yourself, there are times when there's friction, but I think we're all kind of great in realizing the fact that, you know, like it's the same for all of us. Like we're all in the same boat, so that like there's no need to punch any holes in it. You know, if if like the world's not on fire, which it kind of is in New York at the moment, but
How many there are
but yeah.
you? How many roommates do you have right now?
Well, it's four of us in here. Yeah.
You know what? This is just an idea that popped in my mind. You could take it or leave it, but if you do use it, I'm executive producer now. But you guys should film each other all day, every day. Have like a little reality, upload your clips, and do like testimonials. It just because it's just I love when people move out. I never experienced. I always had like one roommate at a time in LA, but they were all, most of the time they weren't into arts or anything. There would be like somebody into something else. You guys have such an opportunity here to just get super creative, like with all four of you. One of them you said is into directing. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, like
Yeah,
that's
no. Listen, we do that in our own way, because I'm usually preoccupied with my talk show, so I'm always on calls with people and stuff. And my friend, he's finishing up his degree, so he had his master thesis film that he's doing, that, you know, like he's editing, and like, you know, like collaborating with other people on. Yeah, my roommate does paintings, you know, and
dope. But
like write some stuff. So yeah, so we're all kind of like in this creative, like surrounding at any point. You know, you walk around the
yeah,
house, someone's going to be doing something
yeah.
in their profession.
Has this whole thing like interrupted some projects you're working on? So like a lot of actors probably in filmmakers and I mean, I guess filmmakers have time to edit and things like that, and or screenwriters have time to write. It's very difficult for a lot of actors out there because they're used to going for auditions. I know you guys have self tapes and things like that. That's still going on, right? So,
Yep.
like, how are you? Are you still like practicing scenes? Has it interrupted? Like, were you making a lot like progress? Because I know that's how it is with me. I was like, damn, I was on a wave. I was on a good momentum wave, and everything just shut down. I was like, what are you doing to me? But you know, like that's thinking negative. I know there's opportunity in this, but like, did it interrupt some of the projects you're working on, or how are you adjusting?
You know, for me personally, it hasn't interrupted anything. If anything, it helped me. That's going to sound maybe like awkward or weird, but in terms of, I was in a spot in my career where I was doing the rounds. You know, I was doing my drop offs. I was making my relationships with like casting offices and like doing projects with other people, auditioning, like submitting self tapes and stuff like that. But it's gotten to a point for me where I was looking at things and it kind of became a chore of like, oh, I got to go on backstage, and I'm like, I look at this and I'm like, oh, okay, that's a role where I could be perfect for. And then I read the description of the project, and you can already tell from the way people talk about their project. I'm not even talking about necessarily only grammar wise, which is, I'm a foreigner. Who am I to judge people's grammar? But like sometimes I'm like, damn, did you go to school?
Exactly. By all
And
means, judge, because that's a pet peeve of mine. By all means, judge. Yeah.
yeah, no, but I'm like, I'm a highly technical like person in every area of my life. So it's like, if you can't even express yourself in a written way and you're casting people for your project that you wrote, how good is the project going to be really? I know that sounds like harsh, but like that's the reality. And I just started kind of like, I had this shift in my mind of like, I just feel something feels off. So I talked to my acting coach, and I'm like, I think I want to just invest my time in my own projects. I'm just going to write. I can write. I can do them. I have people around me that I trust creatively, and I'm like, I think I want to do this. And this actually was kind of like a blessing in disguise, because I'm like, now I'm just like, okay, so it's nothing stopping me from doing that right now. And yeah, and so far it's been really good creatively, because I'm doing things I've never done before, and I'm exploring my entire talk show thing. I'm even writing a song, which I never thought I would in my life, because I just don't have the musical skills. But I wrote down some lyrics in Lithuanian, and I was like, I'm gonna make this a song. And every day I chip in at it, and like something's gonna happen eventually.
Exactly.
So yeah, so it's been, for me it hasn't hit me as hard, because I didn't really have like solid like projects or engagements like coming up. So I was like, and I was transitioning to my own work as it was anyway. So I was like, okay, this is, yeah, it's the shift. It just pushed me more in the right direction, I'd say.
And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad we have you on right now because I know like half the population is either like you said it earlier, like self-pitying, complaining, and half the population are making the most out of the situation. And a lot of artists, I said this on our first episode we did during the quarantine. I compared, like, people think for music especially, oh, this is like people are going to get super creative, but it can go both ways because a lot of rappers, quote unquote, when they go on to jail or something like that, people, it's hard to, when you're like confined, because we get inspiration from so many different things. It's hard to create when you're confined, but you can also use that. There's so many previous experiences we had, and there's so many, we have a world in our brain, you know, and so we need to utilize all those thoughts we haven't even thought about in a long time, and just, we can create, there's a way to make this a positive experience. And I think you help our audience with that, with what you just said. So appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's, again, it's, everything is in the mindset, and it's a subtle perspective change, if anything. Good to go from the fact of like, oh, this sucks, this is crap, and like I'm bored, I'm frustrated, and I'm like suffering in this, and I feel like I'm suffocating. And again, look, I'll be the first one to admit, I understand. Trust me, because like I'm also as positive as I can stay and be. Like there are moments where I'm like, yeah, this is like, if I could, I would not be at home right now. But just because there's this need, and like this thing of like, if we do this all together, it's gonna make everything go back to kind of quote unquote normal. It's gonna be different. Like at this point, we
Think
all
it's gonna
should
be
realize
better,
that.
or is it gonna be like after the depression where we have to recover and things like that? Do you think it's gonna be better or worse?
In
Society.
some ways better, in a lot of ways worse. But it's just going to be different. And that's a scary thing for people, because as much as we would love to say that like people are like, we're risk takers, whatever, we love comfort, and we love staying the same more than anything else, because like homeostasis is that, I think that's a term, like that's what the body is always looking for. That's why you always have to like push yourself to do things and whatever. So it's like, it's a natural thing. And I get it, because we're all human. We have that. But the importance is to just like flip your mindset. I still work from home. My job is I teach toddlers music and ballet classes.
It's
And
beautiful.
yeah, and I really like, I missed, because like the best part of my day was just like walk into a room or like a yoga studio and have like 10 to 15 kids run around, like dance with me, sing with me, and but I do it virtually now, and it's like, it's not the same, because it just kind of sometimes feels like a madman. I'm just in by myself in the room singing to my phone. It's like, what is this? So it's
Yeah.
different, but at the same time, how many people in life will tell you, like towards the end of the life, they're like, no one's ever going to tell you. There was actually a book, a woman who was a nurse. She was a nurse in a hospital wing, where she was the person who would sit with people who are dying, who didn't have any relatives, so that they wouldn't go alone. And she witnessed, I think, like, was it like 15,000 people dying, or something. Like, her job was like very like emotionally demanding, but she wrote a book afterwards. And what she said, that regardless of background, of anything, the biggest regret in life that people had was not spending more time, either A, with the ones that they loved or they wanted to spend time with, or B, not following or pursuing and doing something that they wanted to do, but they always kind of pushed backwards because of this, and that. Nobody said that they wanted to spend more time in the office. Nobody said that they wanted to like spend more time making money or whatever. That stuff becomes irrelevant to them. So knowing that, I started thinking, we're like, okay, I know a lot of people who always say to me, they're like, oh my God, I wish I had more time to spend with my kids, with my family, but I'm working all the time because I want to support them and whatever. Like, and I get that part. And it's a very real part, because we all live in a society. We all live in the world where, you got to pay rent month to month. You gotta feed your family and whatever. But there's this shift of like, okay, so now's the time. This is the time, even though the circumstances are garbage. Like, everything around the circumstances it's horrible, why it's happening. But the thing that you wanted the most, which is to spend quality time with your family, if you're with your family right now, this is it. Like,
Mhm.
forget about the circumstances. Just spend time with the ones you love. And like, that's literally what the government even is telling you to do. So just do it, because that's going to be, for all of us at some point, and like towards the end of our lives, if we're lucky to live like a long, prosperous life, we're still going to look back and think like, man, I wish I spent more time, with someone I loved or doing something I love. So yeah, so just try and flip that switch. I know it's not going to be easy, but maybe one day we'll click in, and like, instead of you thinking that your toddler is just like banging on your, like on a head with like on your head with like a, toy hammer, it's not annoying, but it's actually, you're still spending time with them, and like that moment's never going to come back. So you might as well treasure it.
That's so true. And you bring up a good point, because I think right now is the hardest for 9 to 5ers, and 9 to 5ers, this is what I always notice. I have a lot of 9 to 5er friends, and that's not a negative thing. I think I admire it. It's great. You have structure in life, and that's a lot. They choose that, and people choose that. But the thing is, like, I notice a lot of times when the only time a lot of people do self-reflecting is when they're out of a job. And so they're applying for jobs every day. They're stuck at home and applying, and they start thinking, but the rat race is a real concept. It's a real thing, getting stuck in the rat race. And it's like a lot of people, they don't have time to self-reflect. So right now, even if you are able to work from home, which you are blessed to do, you have to think there's a lot of people who cannot work at home. And I'm talking to the people out there. There's not a lot of people who can work from home. So it's like, even if you have to do that, you still have a lot more time, because you're not driving. The commute is half our day sometimes, not half our day, but you know what I mean? So you still have a lot of time to do other things. It's a beautiful, if you're getting paid the same amount of money to work from home, it's kind of like amazing. You don't have to go anywhere. You have so much more time. So I want to encourage those people, because they may be struggling the most, because they're not like us artists and people who are used to being uh, captured by our thoughts and in our mind. And they're like, this is the first time they're having to deal with that. So I really thank you for what you just said, because I think it's going to help a lot of those people, like you said, those things you've been wanting to do, clean up, like fix the cabinet, fix, just household work, spend time with family. But like, yeah, this is the time to like those deathbed regrets, that's like a big thing. You don't want to, and that's my battery in my back. That's what energizes me every day, is to not have that feeling on my deathbed and those things that I regret. So we all encourage everybody out there this is the time to do those things you've been planning to do. I know it's hard, but now we're adjusted. So now we're used to this. So now let's go. This week, let's go forward. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's kind of the same now. Now that you mentioned like traveling to work, I did at one point realize that I spend, even in New York, like every single day I spend around 3 hours on the subway, and then it becomes a choice. If you get to that point of like understanding that like those 3 hours are going to be there in this format no matter what, because you need to get to work and you need to go back home. Now it's up to you how you spend your time during those 3 hours. You can block everybody off, and maybe you need time to block everybody off and just put your headphones on and just like have some heavy metal music playing in there. That's fine. I've been there. I've done that. But at the same time, no one is stopping you to pick up a book and read a chapter or a couple of chapters of a book on your way to work or back from work. Same way, nobody's stopping you from, I don't know, doing something else, like painting sketches or something. And I know, like you mentioned, like we're talking about all of these creative outlets, you know, for some people, that's just not their life. But then again, you can still choose, because you're sitting on a train car. This situation is literally that. You're on a train to work, and you will get there when you get there. But you're here now, you're in this cart, you're sitting or standing, and what you do with your mind and your time at that time, it's up to you. It's still up to you. So that's, yeah.
100% agree with that. And I'm glad we had this conversation. It's amazing that we haven't even touched upon the subject that much in our previous podcast. So I'm glad that we're able to do that. Alex, do you have anything you want to ask there?
No, I think I'm good. You guys totally ran with it. I love it.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like, especially because you guys are both more into the acting world than I am. Like, so is there anything you want to ask him, like acting related?
I mean, like, yeah. So, Rytis, what is when we talk about how we're both in AFT together, how do you find the balance between, like, and I think that a lot of our actors who are in the audience would love to hear this. How do you find the balance of staying creative, regardless of being in a situation, and still balancing that business mindset of your acting career?
I'm gonna say this straight up, because for me, I stopped worrying about promoting myself, promoting my brand, my acting career, or whatever. I took a hard look at what's happening, and you know, we have this thing called newsletters. You know, your AFT people will be familiar with that. It's just like keep when you really think about it, it's a way of keeping in touch with people and like staying connected. A lot of us, we take it as like a business side of the work, which is, you know, like, you know, reaching out to clients and like collaborators and stuff. And I was sitting at home, I was getting ready to send out a newsletter, and I just looked at it and I'm like, no, this is not the time for me to worry about my possible like future career or something. No, I'm like, I just straight up sent people an email saying like, hey, this is me, the real me this time. Like, this is actually me. How are you doing? I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying healthy. I hope you have everything that you need at this time. If you need someone to talk to, here are my contacts. Feel free to reach out. And I will do the same for my friends as well. I will reach out to some people I already have. And I just try to keep it going in that sense. And I'm like, I'm not worried about my career or something, or like furthering my agenda, my own personal like goals or like whatever. At this point, it's like, no, this is like I said, this is not a time to be selfish. And if we're in this together regardless, so we might as well find that human connection that we sometimes miss and overlook. And I talked to my best friend in Lithuania today. I interviewed him as well, and the subject came up, and I'm like, you know, social media, it gives you, it's an interesting thing, because it gives you an illusion of like being connected with people, because you scroll through your feed and you see like, oh, someone's been on vacation, they have this. So you kind of get the information you would get from a conversation of like, oh, what have you been doing? Oh, I've been on vacation, I did this or that. So you get all that info without having the contact. So you're like, okay, so I'm updated on their life, so I don't need to talk to them. So you lose the very small but very crucial part of, you know, communicating with people, is that actual contact, because you get the info and you're like, oh, okay, I know. Oh, you look, my friend's been on vacation. Oh, that's nice. You went to like the Bahamas. That's awesome. So I know that as a fact, but I haven't talked to you yet. So it gives you a sense, it lulls you into thinking that you're connected when in reality you're just like, you're like reading like Sparks Notes version of somebody's life, which
100%
is,
agree.
yeah,
100% agree. Yeah, like
which
I
is,
have to.
yeah,
Uh huh. Continue what
yeah.
you're saying.
No. I was just gonna say, which is never gonna be the real thing. So just don't
Yeah.
forget the real thing. Don't forget the actual thing that's underlying, because it's social media. So stay freaking social, like
Yes.
socialize through that media.
Yes, I hate that people I know personally follow me on social media because they think social media is a tool for me. Like I don't use it as it's sharing my real life or like my personal things. You know what I mean? And I also think that's why I always deactivate it. People always wonder, and every time I deactivate my Instagram, everybody thinks I blocked them. It's a big problem for me sometimes. But I need to take a break from it because it's one thing. People could say, oh, why don't you just not look at it? Okay, if you have the app and you're able to, you're gonna, and they say, why don't you delete the app? I'm like, okay, I can easily download the app. I'd rather deactivate, take some time away. I don't want to just be vanished. I don't want people to look at my profile, and I don't want to look at anybody else's profile. And it helps me a lot. Like it's healthy, but the drama that comes with it is just crazy. And it's also like, I hate when people talk to me in real life about like my story. Just understand, my real name is Rohit for those people who don't know out there. Just Rohit and Ro Rockwell, which is who I am as an entertainer. They're two different people. It's not like I'm faking on Instagram, but you have to understand that it's a promotion tool. So I'm maybe a little hammy and maybe a little bravado and all that stuff, but understand, don't talk to me about it in real life, because that's the point of real life, where we have a real human to human connection, which we took for granted before. And I think that's what God is teaching us, our higher power, or the universe. It's more about, look, you guys were, even when you guys were able to be around each other, you guys were on your phones and not connecting. Now what are you going to do? Now you can't do that. So I hope when I give it back to you guys won't take it for granted, and you'll appreciate being able to communicate with one another because these kids, like, they don't even know what that's like. So yeah, like what you said, I agree with you. It's a lot of people hate it. A lot of people love it. It just depends. And I don't judge the people who love it either. And I'm like, okay, you learn how to make it work for you. It doesn't affect your mental health. People, like when you talked about your friends visiting or if you see a friend going to the Bahamas, but it's like also you may be, oh, I see that they're going to, but a lot of people are like, fuck him. How come I can't go to the Bahamas? You know, that jealousy. And we're all showing what the fuck we want to show. We're not going to show our F grade, or oh, look at my negative bank account. We're not going to show anything like that. So it's all a facade. And I try not to feed into it. And I encourage the youth to try not to feed into it as much. And after this is over, all y'all kids out there who don't play outside, like when I was a kid, I played outside. Now you can't go outside. So what are you going to, so appreciate it when it's done. Go out inside and play with your friends. Stop with this stuff, stop with the phone stuff. But yeah.
And I'll quickly throw in another story, just because I do have this perspective. When I was 23 and some change, I came to New York City to study, didn't know anybody, just literally left everybody and everyone I knew behind. And I came here, and I had, eventually, like I made friends, like I was in acting school, I was doing things. So like naturally, like connections happen. But in the first year since I moved to New York, I had at that time, I don't know, like 700, 800 like Facebook friends or whatever, or just like contacts like on social media and stuff. Guess how many people actually like send me a message of like, hey, so I heard you're doing something, or like, hey, how's it going? Just in general, how's life? Or like, hey, we haven't spoken in a while. I miss you.
How many?
3.
That's crazy.
And
What's
it's
ironic?
and that
I'm gonna let you finish that. But the irony thing is, like, nowadays when you're off of it, nobody's gonna text you because they forget you exist. But yeah, continue.
exactly. And then I came back for I think it was Christmas break back home, and then I met with a lot of people, just in passing, or like I made arrangements to meet with people. And the feedback that I got was the super weird thing of like, the post of me, like when I posted my picture in Times Square and I was like, you relocated, like lives in New York now. I don't know, like 200 people liked it or whatever. but it's like nobody like, you know, reached out, or it's like, and I'm like not saying like just as equally I can reach out to people that I care about, and I did. So when I went back home, I met with everyone I wanted to meet, and then there were a couple of people from under the floorboards. They came out and they're like, "Oh, let's meet," and I'm like, "Okay." And then I meet with them, and I'm like, "Okay, so we haven't connected. You haven't reached out. I haven't reached out. It's kind of like, well, we know that this is not like super important to both of us." But then they start like asking me about specifics about what they saw, like, "Oh, so you were in this play at that time," and I'm just like, "What is happening right now?" It's so weird that
Yeah.
like we haven't connected on a human level, but you like technically you know all the facts of like where I was, what I was playing, with what theater I was in, where did I go to see a show, and I'm like, that's freaky, man.
I find that really weird too, Tris, because you didn't message me or anything. You just know what I did this day. That's why I hate it sometimes. Sometimes I love it. Sometimes I hate it, but it's a necessary evil at this time frame. But let me ask both you guys this, because those people out there who don't know what AFT is, could you guys explain it to the audience? And could you guys explain how it helped you and what it does for people? Either one of
Yeah,
you. Yeah,
yeah,
you.
absolutely. So AFT stands for Actors Fast Track, which is a company that Valerie Hubbard, who's an actress herself, a veteran in the industry, created to help actors who to basically get off the first of all, first and foremost, get off out of the mindset of like acting is like a career or a job, but and look at it more as if like this is my business, and look at like your career as like a small business owner from that standpoint. Because she's like, over the years she's been, you know, she's been working in the industry, she's done like huge films and like, you know, video game voiceovers, everything and anything. But she's like, I've seen so many talented, like freaking talented people in her life that never gone anywhere because they never took the business side. Because like we forget sometimes, you know, like we don't create for you know, like as much as, you know, some people would want to make everybody believe that, you know, all of us were like power and like fame and money hungry. But like, no, we create because we can't live life in a different way. Like we just have to have an outlet, and like we have something to say, and we want to reach out to people and say it. So she's like, a lot of people get stuck in that, and they get stuck doing non-paid work and like being miserable and unfulfilled because they don't do the business side of things. And she was good at that, and she decided to help people out. So she gets clients, she assigns personal coaches to them, and you know, you walk through your type and whatever, and then you make a strategic plan of like, what steps do you take next in your career based on where you want to go, how do you look like, you know, and like what's your current situation.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know, because I don't actually, I'm just I've come from the music background, so and a lot of our audience are different types of artists, especially a lot of young Hollywood who are just entering this phase of their life, and it's a good tool to have. How does the community aspect work with like, how did you guys connect on a message board? I don't know how it works. Like,
Yeah, we do have a Facebook group of all of the clients, and everyone's free to post, you know, suggestions, questions, and everything. And then we have a bi-weekly video call where current clients, we just, you know, check in, we just talk about what happened, you know, what experiences we had, where are we going, if we have any, you know, just like mindset issues or issues in general, or, you know, suggestions or whatever. We just kind of keep it. It's I think it's similar to, I know my friend, she's a psychotherapist, and when they start out, when they're young, they have like an assigned mentor that they can always consult, and like they do like periodically, like every time, so that they, you know, because sometimes people walk in and they're like, they don't know what to do, so they have a mentor who's been in the game for a long time. So this is kind of like that, which is highly unusual in our business, because it's kind of like, you know, like, well, you're on your own now, go figure out your life. So yeah, it works kind of like a community slash mentorship, kind of like a unity of people who want to take that next step into, you know, fulfilling their potential.
gotcha. How much time you got? Can you do like 10 more minutes? You got enough time?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. I want to ask you, as an artist, especially as an up and coming actor, how do you deal with relationship situations? Are you in a relationship right now? Not trying to put your business out there. You're not. And people always wonder, because like my shit is always complicated. It's because it's hard. It's difficult because of being an artist. And I've already spoken about how it's difficult to like even put it out there or even commit fully. How has that impacted your career, and what leads to your choices in that field, like relationship wise, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's been, well, I mean, I will be the first one to admit that I just don't really do much of relationship game as it is, because I made this decision in my mind when I was like 15 or 16, when I wanted to pursue this. I'm like, okay, there are two things that I really want in life, which is a successful career and, like, you know, a solid, stable family life. And I'm like, well, I guess you can't have them both. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna work on my career first, which
Exactly. It's
is
not like you can't have them both. It's just one, you have to choose one before the other kind of thing.
yeah, which is, again, that's completely mindset, because
Mm-hmm.
at the time I thought that's how the game works, which is like not like it works however you make it work. And
Mm-hmm.
if you have someone, you know, beside you who's willing to make it work with you, then that's, you know, there's like, that's great. That's the goal. But I haven't been in a relationship in a while, but I did have some experiences in life where I've dated someone who was not completely related with arts. She was a medical professional that worked kind of a 9 to 5 job, and it was always like, she was always sketched out by the fact that I was like, oh, I have rehearsal until like 10 p.m. with like somebody, and like in her mind she's like, what are you doing? Like, are you like cheating on me? And I'm like, what? No, this is literally like how my life works. It's like, I don't have sanctioned hours. Like, I like, there's no, like, I sometimes wake up at 3 in the morning, and like if a thought hits me, I'm like, I gotta write it down, and then like maybe spend 2 more hours like playing with it, like toying with it. Like, that's the, you know, like there are no limits and boundaries. And it's like, it was hard to communicate that. And also it was like, she was expecting me to be more like her, and I expected her to be more understanding. So it was just a lot of expectations, and it didn't work out in the end. But yeah, it's certainly tough, but at the same time, it's not, if you find the person who will understand and who's going to be willing to commit their time and energy into making it work.
That's true. And I want to tell people out there, like, it's like a big misconception. It's not a misconception because it's true sometimes. Because when I was younger, opposites did attract. I loved, like, I like smart girls. Shout out to my ex-girl. I don't know if you watching this, you still looking up, you still checking me out, you still Googling me. Anyways, like, she went to Yale, and like, I'm an artist, and I'm a musician, actor, do all these things. So it's two different worlds. But that, to me, it was like, that can only last for so long. I think to a lot of people, if you are, because I'm the same as you, it's hard to balance the relationship because we're married to our work. But to the young artists, I would recommend, like, it. I think it's good to find somebody who's interested in the same things as you. If not, at least let them be supportive. They have to be supportive, and they can't question us when we're waking up at 3 a.m. and writing something down, going out here, because we're free, you know. So I get that, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's a lot has to do as well with the fact that, like, we operate just on a different human connection level with people, you know, like, because we are surrounded by artists and creative people. So like, there are a lot of like social like norms and stuff that like become irrelevant. Like, I've had conversation with someone where I meet the person for the first time, and then we go out, like, just like grab like a coffee, and then we spend like talking like for 10 hours. Like, they have to kick us out, and it's like, oh, I'm like, oh, it's 4 a.m. actually, I did not even realize. And that happens. And like, you know, people, they're like, wait, really? What? That never happens to me. And I'm like, well, I mean, you know, unfortunately for you, because it's awesome when it happens, but like, you know, we just make connections with people in a different way. And I feel like we do seek like a deeper connection faster than others, which can create a lot of friction. But at the
true.
same time, to everyone like who's young, not that I'm like an expert or a specialist in anything, I suck at all of these things, but what I'm at least looking for is, it doesn't matter if the other person is like likes the same things as you, don't like the same things as you. Those things are, yes, they might help, but in reality, it's all trivial, because what matters is finding someone who will understand you, appreciate you for who you are, and will be willing to make that effort of like, okay, I may not understand your life, but I respect you, I trust you, you do your thing, I know that you're going to be there for me, I will be there for you. And that's it. If you get that, it doesn't matter if you're like, I don't know, like someone's a lawyer and someone's like a painter or whatever. It doesn't, like, your profession doesn't matter. Like, yes, for us, it's a very huge part of our lives, but it's not the entirety of it. You know, there's space. there's space for people to be
True.
there next to us.
And like what you just said, it changed my. It's not. Yeah, you're right. It's not really about if they have a similar. It's unconditional love at the end of the day, supporting one another unconditionally, and that's a great way to look at it. Because then our world could still be open, and you don't have to narrow it into they have to be in the same field as me. I was thinking that for a while. So shit, there's a breakthrough in my brain right now, and I thank you for that. I appreciate you for that breakthrough. Alex, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Any last questions you want to? I love your hair, by the way, Alex. You look like The Rock, bro. You look like 1999 The Rock, the wrestler, when he was on top of the world.
I'm glad you said that, because I thought of it and I was like, should I say it?
No, it's a
That's
huge
a
compliment. You're like Dwayne Johnson. There you go, bro.
Yeah.
All right, you want to add anything?
No, I mean, like, when dating, because I've had my own struggles, just like Rytis and you, and I'm sure anybody else who's listening to us. I've decided that it's like your baby, man. And this kid is like, and Ro, you and I have talked about this in past episodes, but I think we can date anybody we want, but if you look at this like AFT does, and you're a business, you track anybody who's in any industry. It doesn't have to be acting. They have the same shit that we go through, right? Of, I have clients here, I do this and I do that. Before I was an actor, I was in the finance game, and the hours were just the same. And what I found with dating was that I had to have the same conversations. Really, there was nothing different. And maybe when you're modeling or even in acting, you say, I got to have this kind of scene. I gotta do this with this girl. I just want to let you know that I have to do this. We had a guest, Melody Miller. Shout out to Melody.
Shout out to Melody.
Yeah. Shout out to Melody. She's a cinematographer, and we did a pilot together. And during the pilot, the older version of me, who was the lead in the pilot, he had to have a sex scene. And I spoke with his wife, Victoria Platt, and shout out to Victoria. I go, so how did you guys have that conversation? Because you guys are both actors, and he has to do this scene. And she's like, oh, no, I'm not showing up today. She was like, I don't need to be there for that scene. So they have this trust and this bond that is understanding, like Rytis was just saying, like, if you can love me for where I'm at, and know that I am always going to be there for you, it's that trust and communication. And I think the older we get, the more that we're able to understand, or even just maturity wise, we are able to understand what is appropriate and how to go about it. And as far as like dealing with a situation like what we're in right now, like, dating is different. You realize who's in your circle and who's not. So I think we as actors just need to kind of like understand that, and understand that when we're dealing with somebody who's not, and not even on the same wavelength, and that is outside of your industry, that they have their certain expectations. Rose giving me so much crap about this, right? But I really do. I say it straight up with the girls on like the first date. Like, I'll literally go, all right, so, and you just have to go like at this when you're meeting somebody new. Like, literally, I'm going, all right, so I work a lot. I'm a workaholic, 40, 50, 60, sometimes hours a week. Like, that's no problem, right? And just understand that during this time, there's some limitations that I'm going to put on you, or put on this, and that might, do you guys think that's it? Let's actually make some controversy here. I've been told that that's very controlling, because you're basically saying to the person, like, okay, this is what I come with, take it or leave it, and you don't really give them a lot of room. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think I think that's respectable. I think that's what girls think they want, or people in general, not girls, guys and girls think they want, just that pure upfrontness. But also think when it happens, it's kind of like a shock. It's like a jolt. It's like, oh my God, I didn't expect him to be this honest this quick. But then people complain when people lead them on, guy or girl, you know? And so the fact that you're willing to do that right off the bat is a good thing. I also want to say what you said about like finance job. It doesn't, sometimes I think we as artists, or maybe just fucking me personally, which I gotta work out, we think we're like the only person in the world who's doing something that matters. No, these other jobs matter too. You know what I mean? Like, so as artists, we gotta, you're right, that's a good way to look at it. I wanted to touch on that real quick, that was a poignant point that, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're at, whatever you're doing, if it takes a lot of time out of your day, that's the thing. So yeah, but get back to the relationships. I think it's respectable. It's just more about how are they going to take it. You just don't know everybody's personality. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, right.
I,
How do you do that?
I mean, I don't. I just don't. I haven't been in a relationship in a long time. No, but in terms of what you said, I'm like, I was about to say, like, there are two things, which is one, if I could have like given some advice to my younger self, I would have said, do not look for a roadmap. Find your own. Yeah. And I feel like your experience, because all of our experiences are different. So there's like, you know, you're at that point where you're like, for you, that's something that you've obviously been through, that's been an issue in your life. And you're like, okay, look, I'm not making my mistakes, like, or I'm not making the same mistakes again. So I'm going to prevent them from happening. Now, the downside of that is that by human nature, we are creatures. Whereas in the biblical stories, they're like, you can have everything that you want, just don't eat apples from this tree. And the moment you tell somebody not to do something, that's exactly the thing that they're going to focus on. So it's like, it's kind of like, it's risky, you know, like you're getting in front of the issue and like protecting yourself. But at the same time, the other person might take it as like something of like, they wouldn't have even thought about it until you put it on the table, you know? So it's like, it's a risk. But then again, if that's your roadmap, that's your roadmap. And if the other person kind of like looks at it and says like, you know what, actually same, let's roll. So then that's it. That's the game. So I think for everybody, just like find your own roadmap into this, because there's no one way. And like it, again, it might matter to some people that like, you know, like if you're an actor, you're like, I want to be with an actress. That's your roadmap. If you're like, I'm an actor, but I'm like, I don't care what the person does for a living. I care who they are. And I'm like, how they're going to treat my mom. That's your roadmap. Like, listen to your intuition, listen to what matters to you, and try to communicate it to others and make sure that they know. And also make sure that you know what's their thing. Like your thing is, you know, like this is going to be like this. Make sure to get that from them as well.
That's a great way to put it. We're all over here giving relationship advice, and none of us, you know, like know shit about it. That's what's up. Though.
That's yeah. I was about to say, like we're the last people probably too.
I know, but we're trying, and we think so. We try to learn, we try to improve. So that's all that matters. And the audience can take it or leave it. And and I think I appreciate you being on the show today. I want to last question, like with your talk show, is that your main focus during the quarantine, and how you what do you how do you see yourself in like after this is all done, the quarantine, like the talk show? Are you going to continue doing that, and where do you see yourself after this is all done, progressing forward?
Good. I would like to continue this if it, you know, regardless of what happens, because I'm just finding so much joy and I'm learning so much about others and relearning the fact that, you know, this is what makes this journey of life awesome, is like meeting people and realizing that we're sometimes we get caught up, I feel like, you know, especially people who are creative in this of like, am I interesting or whatever? Like, yeah, like we all are, because we all have different experiences. We all have different things we love about, we're passionate about, you know, like, you know, during my show, like Alexander, you know, I did push-ups for him, and he like fixed my form, and like we talked about those issues. I had someone read a page from the book that they wrote, you know, like, and it's like everyone's different. Like I had a guy just today who's a master at nunchucks and also salsa dancing. So it's like, you know, it's like if you don't know, like you would never know, but like once you get to know people, and I find it like that helps me a lot, and I would love to do it. But I don't really have a plan or like think about what would possibly happen. I will just see when it happens.
Nice.
I like that, man. I like all of that.
I also want to say, fuck you for having blue eyes, because I always wanted to have blue eyes.
Why you gotta start off like that, bro? Why you gotta start off
how
like
much it pisses me off right now. But be grateful for them. A lot of you guys with blue eyes, you guys aren't even grateful to have those blue eyes. I hope you're grateful about it. That's all.
Oh no, trust me, I am. I am.
Alright, cool.
I am.
Cool.
Yo, bro, like you got to get on this colored eye game. Like I got hazel, he has blue.
I
like,
know, but you can't be a villain with blue eyes, bro. You can't be a villain.
Oh no.
You just never know. Maybe you're one of those. Okay, you could be like the talented Mr. Ripley. You could be one of those incognito villains. I got you. But yeah,
that's the point. You see, in life and in acting, it's like being a villain. It's literally about everything else aside from actually being a villain. And that's what.
You're teaching.
And that's what. And that's.
Yeah. You should do a masterclass on being a villain.
Yeah, because look, it's always it's a classic story. Like even if you think about it in life, would you be more shocked and feel more hurt by someone who hurts you that you saw it coming, or by someone that you did not see it coming?
Right. That's the most intriguing documentaries that I'm watching, which I shouldn't be watching. Yeah, but those.
Yeah.
Like, I would never expect that. So I got you. This is going to be evidence for the FBI in the future. but anyways, yeah. Alex, what were you saying?
No, yeah, I actually want to ask this question because I don't know if we got to talk on it on your show, and I always like that we get into it today or on ours, because we are going to get out of this, and I want our audience to know that we are going to get out of this, and no matter what happens in your future, the only thing that's consistent is change. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, right? It's like what is your ideal life in 5 years?
Well, I mean, I think this, as weird as it might sound, like this situation hasn't changed anything for me in terms of like, let me explain. Like it changed everything for everybody, but it changed our plans that we were like living in the future as if we were pretending we knew what was going to happen. Now we're all very much so have to live in the moment, which is the thing that I found most difficult in life to accomplish, which is to like consciously stay in the moment and enjoy life for what it is right now, which is, again, sounds crazy. Like, how do you enjoy life right now? But I do it by just doing at the moment today, what I can do today to contribute to what I believe in. And if I can do a little bit of that, then I'm great for today. I'll wake up tomorrow, hopefully. I'll do the same thing. And then once all of this is done, I will keep on doing the same things. It's going to be different for sure, for a lot of people, for most people, but that's it. If we make it through to the other side, one, we made it through to the other side, which is, holy crap, that's amazing. Two, life is different. Yes, but when is it not? When, like, there's no telling, like none of us know anything that's going to happen anyway. We can pretend we can live in the future, but we don't know. So just keep on doing what you're doing, and eventually you'll find a way. It's one of the most human things is to persevere and to survive. That's our instinct. That literally the primal instinct is to survive, and we will survive. It's going to be different. And difference is, it's not scary. It doesn't have to be better or worse. It's just going to be different.
Let's make some noise for that one time real quick. That was a gem. People need to hear that. Alex, anything else you got left to ask?
I think that's it for me, man. I mean, that was cool. That was a great way to.
Yeah, that was great. Like we learned a lot about how to be an artist during this time, how to move forward, and how to attack the acting game, and AFT, which you guys, shout out to them. Yeah. It seems like it's helping a lot of people, and it helped us with this podcast. So shout out to them. And anything else you want to plug? And please remind the people where they can watch your show, and and when it's going to come out next week.
Yeah. So my show is going to come out next week. I'm still debating. I'm aiming for the 15th for Wednesday. And I'm thinking of dropping not 1, not 2, but 3 episodes at the same time, so that people have some more content to watch. And again, 3 is a better number, I think. So it's going to be on YouTube. Just type in your favorite villain, and it will pop up. You'll see my face. You'll see my headshots in there. So you will know that's that's me. Also, I'm going to be posting on Instagram, social medias, maybe TikTok. I have a TikTok account now, but I haven't delved into it yet. But on Instagram, you can find my show on Keep Your Heroes at Keep Your Heroes Give Me Villains. And that's also my show's email address. So yeah, just follow me online, and you'll be fine.
Thank you, man. And we'll post all those links in the info box as well. We appreciate you so much taking the time to be on the show, and wish you all the best. And let's stay in touch, man. I could tell you're gonna be a great. Everybody in the show is gonna be a great, but I know you're gonna be a great. So congratulations.
Thanks, bro. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys having me. And I do appreciate the work, because when I was getting ready for my episode with Alexander, I watched one of your episodes in its entirety, and what I appreciated and what inspired me was that you guys that you were just real, you know, like the thing that I appreciate about your podcast is that it's just real people talking about real things. And that's what I want to follow along. So I thank you for that.